setting out tonight?
No, we won't dispatch our regiment until daybreak.
On April 18, 1775, Warren's spies uncover a secret plan by the British Army to attack a rebel position, an operation that threatens to destroy the Patriot cause.
The British command in Boston got word that the Massachusetts militia was gathering weapons outside the city in the western suburbs of Lexington and Concord. So British soldiers began marching out where they heard the weapons were being stockpiled.
Warren learns not only that hundreds of redcoats are headed for Concord to seize the arms, but also to find and capture Patriot leaders Sam Adams and John Hancock, who are hiding in Lexington.
The atrocities have grown and grown. If we do not act now, we are slaves forever. We have to act.
Warren needs the Patriot militias outside Boston to be ready to face down the British, which could finally trigger a war. But sending out the alarm is risky, given that the British Army has sealed off Boston. So he deploys his secret network of messengers.
Warren decides to just send a couple of men on horseback so he can be sure that the message gets through and the militia is raised to defend those two towns.
Among Warren's messengers are William Dawes and Paul Revere.
The reason they sent two riders out is the likelihood of either or both of them being captured was very high. There's redcoats everywhere, and they're armed.
The riders travel in opposite directions to increase their chances of reaching both Lexington, then Concord. Revere crosses the Charles River, where he begins his historic ride. Dawes takes the southern land route on his way to Lexington. But as they spread the word of the redcoats' advance, Revere and Dawes will be joined by a third rider, a man who didn't set out that night to become a hero of the Revolution, Dr. Samuel Prescott. He's in Lexington visiting his fiancée, Lydia.
So Concord, and more importantly, the fate of the entire revolution is suddenly in the hands of this young, 24-year-old doctor that's just out on a date.
At 1 o'clock that morning, Prescott bids Lydia a good night. As he rides home to Concord, fate sees to it that he runs into Revere and Dawes, who have already delivered their message to Lexington.
He's from Concord, he's a part of the militia, and so he thinks, oh, we'll be able to spread the word a lot faster if I'm with you because everyone knows me, it's my home. So he joins the trio and then they take off.
But within minutes, they gallop straight into trouble.
Paul Revere's a little bit ahead, and he sees two men and realizes that they're British sentries. And then as he tries to alert his friends, the two men become four men. And then all of a sudden, they're circled.
Revere is captured. Dawes and Prescott break free. But Dawes is thrown from his horse, forcing him to limp home. The only rider to make it to Concord to deliver the message about the British advance is Samuel Prescott.
The regulars are out! To arms!
Alerted to the British advance, the colonists grab their guns and prepare for their first direct confrontation. Meanwhile, Patriot leaders John Hancock and Sam Adams make their escape.
If the British had gotten to Lexington without any advance warning, they could have captured a couple of key members of Congress, Samuel Adams and John Hancock, and if they had gotten to Concord, they would have been able to capture the ammunition and powder that the Americans so desperately needed.
In the pre-dawn hours of April 19, 1775, dozens of colonial militia stand ready to face down the redcoats. Before this day is over, America's struggle for liberty will explode into history's most influential war for independence.